Hi, I'm Mamta Narula, radio host, MC, and storyteller. After 25 years connecting with audiences on EBC radio and at major South Asian events, I'm excited to bring you Moments with Mamta. This podcast shares real conversations about the moments that shape us, stories of growth, grit, and inspiration. Thank you for listening and welcome to Moments with Mamta. So, welcome, Tariq. I am so happy that you could spend some time in joining me in this podcast called Moments with Mamta. Um, welcome. Um, Moments with Mamta is just not time spent with Mamta. It's also the fact that through these moments, if my guest could inspire and motivate, be the next generation or the listeners. And when I was compiling a list of my guests, somehow your name just topped the line, topped the list.
Thank you. Thank you.
Why do you think Tariq Khan is Tariq Khan the way he is? So inspiring, so grounded, so accomplished, but never shows or talks about his accomplishments. So what makes you who you are?
Well, first of all, Mamta, thank you so much for inviting me. It is an honor for me also because in our community, Mamta is a very good brand, very well recognized name, especially in the media. So everyone knows you and you have a big following. So having been a part of your show, it's an honor for me. I don't think I have done anything above average in my life. I'm a very average person. I have been luckier than more successful. So I think it's all perspective how we look at it, right? And when we talk about success, success is a very funny thing. In the book, I have written that the difference between success and happiness. Being Asian, South Asian especially, we want our children to be successful. And then you look at the American parents, they want them to be happy. So it's quite possible. I'll just share a quick story. My neighbor the other day came to me and said, Tariq, you teach at a university. My daughter is thinking about going to colleges. So would you give her some recommendation? I do it all the time. And the colleges that she was looking for was Yale, Princeton, Columbia, and one more Ivy League, and then Georgia Tech. So I explained everything to her, and then finally I asked my neighbor that what did she decide, and my neighbor is a Caucasian, second or third generation, and he said that she decided to go to Georgia Tech. Now imagine this and to an Indian or Pakistani parent that you have Yale, Princeton, and Columbia, and then your daughter goes to Georgia Tech. I think there would be a mayhem in the household. And he was pretty comfortable and happy. And I asked him what made her decide. And he said that she listened to you and everything that you said. And I was very, objective in the sense and explained her all the strengths and weaknesses. But her heart was going to Georgia. And he was very content. So I think we look for more happiness. And the long answer to your short question is that success is defined by others, but happiness is defined by you. So I'm happy, not successful necessarily.
Now my guests will know how good of a speaker you are because you have answered 5 of my questions in your one comment. So this is why I have you here. So Tariq, now what do people not know about what you do? Because I know you do so many things. Talk to us a little bit about what people don't know.
Well, I spent most of my career in marketing, right? And that also came accidentally. When I joined college, हमारी parents जो mothers हैं वो हमें बताती हैं कि what school you should go, what college you should select, what major you should do, what you should become after you graduate, and what age you should marry, and how many children do you have, right? So being having a very strong Pakistani mother, and she was wonderful. Everything that I am today is because of my mother. She said that computer is really high. Just get into the computers, right? And that was many years ago. And I became a computer information system major, CIS. So
did you do that?
Yes, yes. When I entered college, that was my major. Why? Because my mother asked me to do that. And my mother had no technology background, but she is my mother, so I have to listen. In the first class that I take, Mamta, in CIS, I had no clue what's going on. I did that class with a passion. And I virtually begged my professor at that time to give me a C so I don't have to take this course again. And I went to my academic advisor and I told her that I love coming to college. I like making friends. I enjoy every bit of, coming to the university. I hate taking exam. And I want to get into a field where I can travel the world, make lots of money, meet lots of people. I don't have to come to the office every single day and I enjoy life. So she looked at me that I'm out of my mind and she said, try marketing. And
Oh, wow.
this time I took a course in marketing and I think that was love at first sight. And I felt like that, this is something for me. So after graduating, I work for Fortune companies in marketing department. I spent first 18 years of my life for three different companies, MetLife, Nationwide, and ING, and build marketing campaigns and branding for them. And then about 15 years ago, I had the itch of being an entrepreneur. So I started my own company, a marketing consulting firm, and last 15 years have been wonderful years of my life professionally. And few years ago, during COVID, I started questioning, why are we here in this world for? And that's when this, shift in my career came, and I said that, everything tangible in life is meaningless. The time that you spend with people that you love, and we should do what makes us happy. And not that my company was not making me happy. So I made a deal with my, I have a small company with my team members that why don't you run that company and I become more of a coach and I just watch you. And luckily they gave me that time so I can travel the world, do the things. And about 19 years ago, I got connected with NYU, where I was an adjunct faculty. I was teaching. And the more I was doing teaching, the more I was enjoying it. And about 3 years ago, I became a full-time faculty. And I'm enjoying that part very much. So I'm spending most of my time now in teaching. I do advise my company. I'm the coach, and but they run the organization. And most of my time is spent between teaching and nonprofit work, giving back to the community. So that's what.
This is so lovely. I think the journey itself is so inspiring, and the way you change your gears, I think that was organically. I mean, things came to you, and then I think you chose happiness over success, and you are still successful. But I think in your heart, you believe that if you're not enjoying something or you're not truly happy, then there is no point continuing with that. Is that correct?
Mamta, in our community, just to remind you that, when I was working for these companies, large global companies, people in our community was very happy that I'm doing, or at least they pretended that they were happy, and they were very well connected with you and say, oh, this is Tariq, this is doing so well. And ever since I started my own company and I went into oblivion for them, most of them, they think that I'm not doing well, which is fine for me. And they don't get in touch with me. And they really, whenever they meet, they kind of sympathize with you that, you had a great career. And now I'm much happier now.
Yeah. So, Tariq, does the perception of others matter to you?
Not anymore. No.
Is that how we evolve, according to you? That
Yeah, I think when we go through different cycles, so I came here as an older teenager. When I came here, I wanted to be everything American, right? I wanted to be, just like a local person. I just wanted to connect. And as you mature in your life and your career and in everything, and you realize this is who I am, and everyone has to work with me in my, uh, in my system, and it's like a centrifugal force that connects you and invites you back. And then you ask questions, what am I here in this world for? How would I be remembered? What difference I have made? Nobody would care you are CEO of, uh, Google. Yes, while you're CEO, everybody will remember you. But once you become a former CEO, nobody cares much about it, right? But more important, for the person is that how am I leaving this world? What impact have I made? How many lives I made a difference to? So that becomes, and that's usually not the yardstick that people outside use. But if you are happy and satisfied, that's what matters.
I'm sure there were situations where you had to make tough decisions, right? Be it at your work or personally. So, what is that mantra that you follow? Is it your gut feeling? Is it just some logic? Or what is that that allows you to make that tough decision?
I think this is an advice from most men. Whenever you are in a situation where you're marginally thinking about to go this way or the other way, ask women around you. Those of you who are lucky enough to have
Thank you.
mother, ask your mother. If you have a wonderful partner at home, just ask her. And if you're extremely blessed with a daughter, ask her. because they put sense in you. So most of good things and good advice in my life came from women around me, and could be a friend, could be someone that you really know very well, because they always. And again, this is an advice for men, and I probably will give the same advice for women as, because men look at things from a very different perspective. I cannot prove it through research, and I'm a big believer in research and science, that somehow men dream in black and white and women dream in color. So they bring more innovative creativity in your life, and they give they give their perspective from a different lens, which at many times we never even think about.
I've known you for a number of years now, and one thing that I've consistently noticed that you really genuinely respect women. Um, and your thoughts towards women and they're uplifting them is just so appreciated by not just me, not I'm sure not just by listeners, but everyone around you. So what do you think is so special about women, that they need to be respected and given that place that in some of the countries in the world they have not been given? What are your thoughts on that?
I cannot take the responsibility for thousands of years, but I think men in general have not treated women well overall. And I'm not just talking about India, Pakistan, or Asian countries globally. I mean, country like Switzerland, women were not allowed to vote until 1970s, right? So, and that's one of the most modern countries in the world. Today, even in America, women get paid 87 cents for a dollar that men does, right? So there is a clear disparity. And I wasn't born like this. I was born like a typical man who would think that, we are superior in many ways. But as you grow and, you have people in your life, with your wife, your mother, your daughter, your sister, and other people around you, then you really see this. So the other day I was sitting down with my friends and a thought came to my mind. And these are my friends for the last 25 years. And fortunately, we all have daughters. So I posed a question to all my friends that, do you guys think that you are a good human being? And most of us said, yeah. And I asked them, how many of you would like your daughter to have a husband like you? And we all had to think. Uh, so it means that we are good human beings, but not good for a husband, for someone like daughter, right? And I say the same thing. The other day, I was speaking at a seminar, and it was about how women are playing more critical role in workforce. And one person said that, I don't know why there is so much fuss about it. We respect women very much. In my company, they are highly appreciated and all that. And I asked him, I said, do you have a daughter? And he said, yes. I said, would you like your daughter to have a boss like you? And he had to think about it. And he said, I would like somebody to be better than me. I said, then why don't you first become that person to other women than who you are, right?
Well, that's lovely. Yeah, I mean,
It comes to our own perspective. So that means that there is a gap, right? This, and again, this is not a very authentic, scientific focus group research, but we know that. So it means if we have exploited, and most good things in my life have come through women in my life, right? We need to really, the reason that world is in this place is because we have taken 50% of the population and we have not fully leveraged them. And, we feel happy when we check the box and says, I've hired 3 women and they're working out. But most of the time we just have done that for a token appreciation and not really take advantage of that. So
I also think that why do we have to check the boxes, right? This should be normalized. I mean, why, even in today's world, why there is disparity, right? So that all of these are very valid points. And I think this should be the highlight of at least this episode of Moments with Mamta. But there are other things, Tariq, that I want to talk to you about. You mentioned Switzerland. So I'm going to change the gears a bit. I know every year you take out some time to travel. And this is just not traveling to certain places in Europe. You just don't travel only, you actually click some wonderful photos. So the story that you share through your photos, very less comments, talks a lot about your interest in other things. So now let's talk about your travel, the global traveler Tariq is, the photography, and also what does Tariq do in his free time? Because I'm sure you're so busy, but there are some moments here and there, some days when you have a lighter day. How do you spend time like that?
So, Mamta, I have traveled throughout my life extensively. And what I realized, and I think this came about 2015 or 2016, I was sitting down and there was something on Facebook, sees how many countries you have traveled, right? And I realized by then I had traveled 70 plus countries. And then I saw that I have been to so many countries, but I have seen very few. Because when I was in corporate life, my travel would be I'll go to, let's say, Geneva. I'll go to the airport. I'll go to the hotel. I'll speak at a conference, maybe have dinner that night. And after 3 or 4 days, I'll come back, but never get to explore that part of the world. And traveling teaches you so much. It really opens your perspective, and you see things from a different lens. In about 2015 and 2016, decided that as a family we would travel and spend the entire summer in just exploring different parts of the world. So Switzerland, of course, is a beautiful country, and I love every part of it. So every time we go to a country, and I specifically pick up countries where I can really explore life from a different perspective. And some of the countries I'm going back again that I have been there 10 times, but I have never seen anything. And now when I'm free and I don't have corporate life, I don't have to worry about it. I'm pretty much on my own watch, and every day is like a weekend. And then you learn a lot about that culture. So we sometimes live in our bubble, and especially in this country, we live in New York. We think the world starts in New York and ends in LA. But when you're outside, it's a different world.
Yeah. So, how about the food? I know you are a foodie, but you have some limited choices. It's not that you will eat anything that's given to you. So, let's talk about the food choices that Tariq makes.
So, Mamta, I wish nobody has the food habits that I do because I'm a very difficult person when it comes to food. I only eat very limited food. So, I eat desi food happily, and that's my first choice. Yeah, if I don't find that, then I could probably go for Italian food. But then, I if I don't find halal food, then I have to become a vegetarian. And my food habits when I'm traveling outside is very difficult. Now, luckily, you always find an Indian or Pakistani restaurant every day.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes.
Maybe halal food is becoming more popular. So I am not a good food connoisseur. I limit myself to only 2 or 3 types of cuisine, which is not a good habit. I'm not proud of that. And there are 90 things that I don't try, and there are 5 things that I can probably eat the same meal every single day for the rest of my life.
You sound so much like Shah Rukh Khan in two aspects. One, he talks highly of women. Second, he also can eat same meal entire life. That's what he says. And he eats like one meal a day and only one or two things. He does not change his choices. So that's that's not bad. If you're wired that way and you're happy at eating what you're eating, then what's the issue, right? There's no issue.
I think as we are aging, we have to be careful. So we try, I try to have salad at least once a day as a meal, right? Full meal, which was not a part of my life 10 years ago. Because, we have to be very careful. And if you want to live a longer life, you want to live a healthier life. I always pray to God that, just make sure that the day that I'm leaving this world, I'm walking on my feet.
So, Tariq, if you were to go back or think, is there anything you'd like to change in your early years?
Oh gosh, this is a very long list.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but if I would, probably you're asking a regret, or not necessarily a regret, but something that I could have, should have.
A positive change, probably.
I came here at a young age, and I live without my mother. And my mother passed away at a young age as well, right? She was in her 50s when she passed away, and I was in my 30s. And I just realized that, I wish I could have spent more time with her. Although I talked to her every single day on the phone when I was living here. But my relationship with my mother shouldn't have lasted 30 some years of my life. It should have been much longer. My brother, who moved back to Pakistan, at that time, I was thinking that he's making a mistake by doing that. But I think he was a bigger beneficiary because he got to spend that time with my mother.
And I see there's a lot of emotional bond that you shared with your mom.
Yeah. And most of us, our mother is probably the other face of God, right? And I know you're in your personal situation when your mother was alive, how quickly you will just get on the plane and
Yes.
go to India and come back, and your face would be glowing differently, and your life has continued, but it has changed completely.
There is a vacuum for sure, and I can relate with that. So Tariq, I know there is a book that you have launched, and I do want to talk about that book. So why don't you tell our listeners everything that you want to talk about that book. And why should people read that?
Yeah. So the book is about leadership. It's called Leadership in Changing Times. I started writing this book because I had an opportunity to work with so many leaders, and obviously I teach leadership at NYU as well. I started writing book towards the end of 2018, and then 2019 is most of the time that I wrote the book, and the book was ready for publishing in January of 2020. And then we started thinking about marketing and all that, but there was a guilt that I was feeling that the entire book was written during COVID, and it was written before COVID, and there is no relevance or mention of COVID. So I went to my publisher and I said that I will feel very guilty if the book comes out, on peak of COVID, and there is no mention, because the world leadership, the global leadership, has never been changed like this. So he asked me, "What are you thinking?" I said, "I'm going to rewrite the book." He said, "You must be out of your mind." I said, "No, I will not." So I rewrote the entire book during COVID time, because everything became irrelevant. Just imagine, if somebody tells you that, everyone will be sitting home and not working and not be able to connect with their loved ones. We would think that's impossible. And I think it was a good case study because the global leadership has never been challenged like we were challenged in COVID. So I rewrote the book, and it took me another year and a half, but it was worth the time that I spent. And then the book came out, and NYU launched the book, and now a lot of other universities use it as well. Writing a book actually gives you a very unique perspective, because it's just like when you're writing an email to someone, you can read it 10 times, you don't find anything different, and then ask someone else to look at it and they'd find 5 mistakes with that. So I think writing a book gives you a very different perspective to learn life and to do the research. And those who can do it, I strongly recommend that. Pick up a topic that really you are passionate about and then write something about that.
And I also feel that because you teach students, you are one of those people that I'd like to get some final comments on the something that you want to tell the younger generation or younger listeners of this podcast. But in addition to that, the world that we are living today is full of AI, is full of automation, is full of artificial intelligence. Your thoughts and your comments on that, please.
So first of all, to young generation, which is about to go to college, in their life is going to be changing. You will be going there as a young girl or a boy, and you will come out as a young woman or young man, right? So it is going to be the best learning experience of your life. When you go to university or college life, there are 3 S's, and you can pick 2. One is socialize, sleep, or study. If you study and socialize, you cannot sleep. If you socialize and sleep, then you cannot study. So you have to carefully pick 2 S's out of those, right? And it depends. So there is sacrifice needed. And very simple, I can tell you that you can work very hard for the next 4 years, and relax for the rest of your life. Or you can relax for the next 4 years and then struggle for the rest of your life. So the choice is yours. So again, I'm giving an advice like a desi uncle, but that's true. So invest right now. As of now, this is the best investment. But one very important thing, which is especially the young generation, the Gen Zs who are entering the workforce, there is a lot of conversation about AI, which is artificial intelligence. And I think that's going to be the normal rules of engagement in the world, and it's not going anywhere. And everyone should really make themselves as adaptable to AI. I mean, it's not going to even ask you. But don't forget the OI, which is the original intelligence, right? What is the original intelligence? Remember that when you go to work and you work for companies, people who hire you, they're still from my age group, right? We still like to shake hands. We still like to meet you in person. We still like to interact with you because we have emotions. The artificial intelligence will neutralize many things. So, for example, 10 years ago, if you met somebody who speaks 5 different languages and knows the capital of every city in this world, we consider the person intelligent because he or she acquired knowledge and knows how to retain that. Artificial intelligence will neutralize all these things. So you can speak in one language, and the person sitting in front of you will be understanding in different language, and vice versa. So think about your IQ is not going to be as important in many cases, not all cases, And your EQ, which is emotional intelligence, and your SQ, which is social intelligence, is going to play a critical role. So let's get to know people in person. Let's connect with them. Yes, the screen time. And I never stop children from looking at the screen and spending time in front of the screen, because when I was young, my mother used to tell me, don't watch TV, it'll ruin your life. It didn't, right? But at the same time, this is a great learning device that you have. So make sure while you're spending enough screen time, you put that aside for a minute and learn how to talk to people. Because if you don't do that, 5 years from now, you will not be able to talk. Your mouth will open, but the words will not come out. And every now and then, just take a paper and write something on paper. Because if you don't write it, you'll forget how to write that. I don't know about you, Mamta, but when you were a child, you used to write Hindi very well. But if you do that now, you may be able to read it, but you cannot write it as well, because you're forgetting the phonics and all these things. So it's very important for them to understand the soft skills and people that they are interacting with. So bring the emotions back.
This is so, so lovely, so beautiful, so well said. And I totally agree with that, because if I were to write today, for that matter, anything, it's so difficult to even hold a pen now, because everything is so computerized, right? So all valid points, Tariq. I wish I had more time with you, but this was great. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, your knowledge. I request everyone to read this book, especially if you want to have those leadership qualities. But good luck to you, Tariq. Keep traveling, keep eating desi food, and enjoy life just the way you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mamta, for having me. It's really an honor. And I know whatever you do, whatever you put your hands or fingerprints to, you make it successful. And especially in the media, you have such a great understanding and connection with people. So it's an honor for me to be one of the first guests. And I wish you all the best for the show.
Thank you very much. You take care. Bye. Thanks for joining me on Moments with Mamta. If today's conversation inspired you, please follow, share, and stay connected for more meaningful stories. Until next time, this is Mamta signing off.